Hey, sports bettors, thanks for stopping by. My name is Boyd. I teach beginner and struggling sports bettors how to use data-driven analytics, data-driven tools. And today's video is all about Unabated. Unabated is a tool that we use and highly endorse, and want to have you watch a quick video that Jack put together to identify and help you understand how those selections are made. So this is what it's all part of, is education, information to help you understand the systems and the methods and the tools to be profitable. Now, before we get into today's video, which I think you're going to get a lot of value and a lot of good stuff out of when you get into it, I want to remind you, you can hit the link down below. Take the scorecard app. The scorecard is going to help you with sort of your own customized personal report on your journey of sports betting education and information. You sort of see where you stand and where you are education-wise, information-wise, and as a starting point to really expedite your knowledge base and help you understand where you need to be with tools and things, which is also what I do. I do one-on-one consultations to help each individual with their own profit plan, their own betting plan based on where you're located, what sportsbooks you have available, and just really design a profit plan, just as if you were to do stock trading or options trading, things like that. It's the same concept going into the sports betting, because it's all markets driven, and really happy to help you understand how this process works. It's a lot more fun when you're making money. But let's get into today's video.
It's a common misconception that the way you beat sports betting is to merely pick more winners than losers. What if I told you that most sharp sports bettors don't work that way? Furthermore, I'll tell you exactly how most sharp bettors do it and how you can potentially do the same. Hi, I'm Jack from Unabated.com. I've been a professional gambler for over 20 years. Along the way, I've earned a living beating casinos at table games, machines, promotions, and for the past decade, I've focused on sports betting. Now, why sports betting? Because I believe it has the biggest potential upside of anything I've encountered in my years of gambling. To the general public, all winning sports bettors are alike. They have some mysterious computer program or crystal ball that helps them pick winners. That's all they do. They just pick winners every day, nonstop. However, sports betting doesn't really work that way. There is not just one path to profiting at sports betting. In fact, sports betting is similar to financial markets. As you're probably aware, there are many different ways to bet in financial markets. You could buy and sell stocks, trade options. You can take positions on a team of stocks in an industry that you believe will increase over time. It all makes sense that sports betting is similar to that, in that you have many different approaches as well. Some sharp bettors do win by merely picking winners, but is actually a very slim minority. It's also probably the most difficult approach to winning at sports betting these days. We call these guys originators. Originators have their models or their sources of information, and they just work with that. Originators are handicappers, whether it be sides or totals or other markets. They often have an early opinion, and they work to find the optimal time to wager. There's a lot of work behind the scenes to be good enough to originate in any sport. And don't expect to originate in more than one sport at a time. It requires an in-depth knowledge that takes astute focus. If you know someone who wins at sports betting and you're not sure exactly what they do, you probably think they're an originator. However, more likely, they're not an originator, they're a top-down bettor. A top-down bettor is someone who grinds out a profit in a less than glamorous way. What a top-down bettor does is look for a source of truth as to what the line and price should be, and then filters down to see if there's any pricing inefficiencies in the market. Maybe all the sports books have moved to -2.5 on a team, but you find the one sports book still dealing -1. Having to only lay -1 when everyone else is having to lay -2.5 points gives you a theoretical edge. That's top-down betting. Top-down bettors can spend all day looking for situations like these. Sports betting has a vast surface area, and you'd be surprised how many little edges pop up over the course of a day. A top-down bettor keeps their eye on as many different sports and utilizes as many different sports books as they can. The advantage of betting sports this way is it requires far less actual sports knowledge. One of the excuses I often hear as to why someone doesn't want to bet sports is that they're just not a big enough fan of that sport to bet on it. Trust me, being some kind of super fan can actually be a detriment to sports betting. You often need to be unbiased and bet purely based on numbers, not on narratives or your own fandom. Some of the sharpest sports bettors I know could probably name less than a handful of players in any given sport. They're successful as sports bettors because They're unemotional. They identify a positive situation and they bet their edge. There are the same parallels in the stock market, right? You have a friend that just loves everything Apple and they support Apple and they buy Apple stock. Well, then you have another friend who trades based on fundamentals, and when they feel like Apple is undervalued, they buy, and when they feel Apple is overbought, they sell. It's just savvy investing to them. But how do these winning sports bettors, these top-down bettors, actually do it? Well, first, they identify which sports books lead the market when the lines move. These sports books are generally referred to as market makers. Now, a market maker typically accepts higher limits and sharper action because they can shape their lines with that information. By watching what a sharp market maker does, they can bet a line before it moves at another potentially slower book. Of course, many of the slower books are also the same types of books that potentially limit bettors, so it's not always easy. A top-down bettor has to continually be adapting to changing climates. Watching many lines at many different sports books at once can be impossible, so most top-down bettors employ an odds screen. An odds screen, like the one we have at Unabated, shows the real-time lines and allows them to monitor dozens of sports books at once. The best odds screens even alert the bettor as to where the edges are and when lines are moving. Using tools like these, a bettor can identify good bets, quantify just how good they are, and then quickly swoop in and bet them. I go back to something I've mentioned before. There is the science of sports betting and there is the art of sports betting. And it's no different here. While an odds screen may make top-down betting look very scientific, there's still a lot of art to it as well. You need to know why the lines are moving in order to have confidence that the line movement isn't just natural variance. You need to know how much each line movement is worth. You need to know which sports books will take your action and which ones get angry with bettors who attempt to bet this way. A top-down bettor often has a lot of knowledge about the mechanics of the market they're betting into. They know when lines typically move and they know what influences the market. The downside of being a top-down bettor is that it can be very time intensive. You can spend a lot of time monitoring an odds screen and looking for a movement to happen. A financial trader has only set hours where their market is open. However, with sports betting, it can go from an early morning to a late night. It's also not a very glamorous way to beat sports betting since you're not making any bold predictions that you can boast about to your friends. You're just basically getting a better price on something than everyone else got. And then you're repeating that process time and time again until those little edges add up to big profits. How can you get started being a top-down bettor? The single sharpest thing you can do as a sports bettor is to shop for the best price whenever you want to make a bet. Have access to as many different sportsbook apps and websites that you possibly can, and then always look for the best price. This isn't exactly top-down betting, but it's the cornerstone that top-down betting is based on. You want to always get the best price. After you're comfortable doing that, you want to begin to identify your source of truth. It can be somewhat frustrating to learn that there's not one universally sharp sports book in the world. Different books are sharper on different sports. They employ different trading teams that have different strengths and weaknesses. We try to help people identify their source of truth over at Unabated. From there, you can start to learn when markets move and why they move. It can be a grind, but top-down betting is definitely effective. And when done right, it's probably the best path to sustainable bankroll growth as a sports bettor. However, there are still other ways to get an edge betting sports. We talked about originating and now we've talked about top-down betting, but I would invite you to check out another one of my videos and explore even more ways that you can beat the sports books. I'll see you next time.